So hello, welcome back everyone to the Kate and Keys channel. I'm trying something new today. We'll see how it turns out. And so welcome back. I'm giving you a look at my messy studio, actually my messy bedroom. And just like my messy bedroom, there are some days when even if we have everything planned out, nothing turns out as we planned and our schedules get messed up. And if you're honest with yourself, how often does that happen? And so maybe you planned time to practice the piano or any other hobbies that you have dancing, writing, reading a book, playing games, playing guitar. And unfortunately, you end up not being able to have the time to do it because life happens. And things rarely even go as planned. As you now see, I was trying to hold it in a vlog style and I just realized how difficult it was, so I had to put it on my tripod. Well, anyway, now going back. When things don't turn out the way we planned and we're not able to play the piano, how are we supposed to practice? And that's what I want to get to today. Have you ever heard of the word mental practice? Mental practice means you're practicing something mentally, hence the name mental practice, even if you are not physically at it. So for example, you may not be on the dance floor or you may not be in the dance studio, but in your mind you're practicing your dance routine. Or you may not be cooking in the kitchen, but in your mind you're already planning out how you're going to cook that stew. And so in the same way, mental practice can be done in the piano. And that's how you practice piano without the piano. So before I get to the ways of how to mentally practice the piano, I want to say two quick things. Number one, we don't do it just for the sake of doing it. It's more like if you're passionate about something, you really keep thinking about it, right? For those of you who are into business, even if you're on a vacation or you're on the road, your mind can't stop thinking about the business. Or you're really passionate about your partner like I am, you don't stop thinking about them. And so in the same way, if you're really passionate about the piano and music, then you wouldn't stop thinking about it. But going throughout your entire day, you would keep thinking and analyzing aspects about music and the piano. And number two, doing this shows how amazing the mind really works. And so now let's imagine I'm at the resort without any piano. Snap. And so we're going to learn 4 ways how to mentally practice the piano without the piano. And I know from Facebook groups, I've read many of you who went on vacations and you just missed having the piano around so you can play. And I like that attitude. So for you piano and musical geeks just like me, let's look at the 4 ways to mentally practice the piano. Number 1, to know every scale and every chord in each scale. And if you've been watching my videos, you know how much I emphasize on that. So how do we practice that mentally? It's very simple. It's like giving yourself an exam. You think about the piano and you ask yourself, C major, what are the notes in the chord of C major? C, E, G. What about F minor? F, A flat, C. E flat major. E flat, G, B flat. What about A minor 7? A, C, E, G. Or what are the notes of the B major scale? B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. What are the notes of the E major scale? E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And the goal there is, if you ask yourself or anyone asks you those things, you should be able to answer it very quickly. Not only should you know it imagining the piano and the keys, but even being able to say it out quickly without having to think about the piano in your head. That's the goal. And again, when you start, you don't have to go that fast. You may take a really long time, just like I did before. But the point there is to get your mind really acquainted, imagining the piano, and even in the future, not having to imagine the piano anymore. But all these notes, all these scales, all these chords are ingrained in your mind. And I promise you that learning this is just not to show off or to think of yourself as really good and quick to think, but rather when you're playing, when you're improvising, being able to think in these terms quickly is going to help you very much. It's going to be so effective and so efficient. I promise you that. Number 2 is practicing your pieces even without the piano. So imagine you just put your hands on the table and imagine you're trying to learn the scale of C. So in your mind, your hand is on the piano, and you start playing the scale of C while moving your actual fingers, imagining that your table is the piano. So C, second octave, back descending. Or let's say you're learning for Elise, and so your right hand will go, and so on. And if you're more of the diligent type, you probably brought your notes and your books to your vacation and to this resort. And so you could actually look and sight read it while playing on the table, imagining that it's a piano. And this is another technique I've practiced before, especially when I was in school and teachers were really boring sometimes. I would just think of my notes, I would just think of the pieces I was trying to learn and start playing them on my armchair. And it doesn't seem like much, but when you finally get back to the piano, you'll realize how much it actually helped. Number 3 is to sing your pieces and your songs out loud. Even if it's on the piano, you can just hum it out loud. I find it so puzzling that some people can play their piece fairly well on the piano, but when you take them off the piano, it's as if they've left the music on the piano and they're not able to sing it, or they're not even able to imagine it properly, and it seems like it's all purely muscle memory, and that's good, but it's not good enough. It has to stick on your mind. It has to be something you can sing. It has to be something you internalize. Okay, so there are 2 ways to do this. Number 1 is to just hum it like you would any song, like you're in the shower singing your favorite song. And number 2, which is a better way, is to sing the notes out. So for example, last week I was learning Moon River. When I'm in the car or I'm at work, I would hum the tune of Moon River. But to make it even better and more effective, so that when you're singing it, you would sing the actual notes that you're playing. So now I would sing it like this: Sol, re, do, ti, la, sol, fa, sol, do, ti, la, sol, fa, sol, and on. Or for example, you're learning for Elise. How you would sing it would be mi, re, mi, ti, re, do, mi, la, ti, do, mi, ti, re, do, la, and so on, so on. And again, just like number 2, it's something you don't think is really effective at that moment. But again, it will take months or years, and you'll realize how effective it can really help. Because again, just like learning anything, it's not only physical, it's not only muscle memory, but it's being able to conceptualize and imagine it on the mind. And lastly, number 4, it's slightly more advanced, but it's something all of us can learn. It just takes a little music theory to get this. Number 4 is to learn to analyze music. So again, imagining you're just chilling and you're singing We Are the Champions. As a pianist and as a geek, you would start thinking about the chords of We Are the Champions and how those chords and the melody make up the music and make you feel that triumphant feeling that Freddie Mercury gives you when he sings We Are the Champions. So let's look at We Are the Champions and let's try to analyze it a bit. Okay, so here's the song We Are the Champions by Queen. Now the chords are transposed to an easier key, but nevertheless, we're still going to analyze it in the same way. So when you listen to the song, you'll feel that the mood of verse 1 feels a little dark and constricted. That's the feeling. But even when you look at the lyrics, it also has a negative tone. I paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence but committed no crime. So it really has that dark feeling. Now when you look at the chords, it's only A minor and E minor, played over and over. And the first 2 lines are all minor chords. That's what gives a dark and constricted feeling harmonically. Now when we reach the second part of the verse, and bad mistakes parts, that's the first time we play a major chord, C major. When you listen to it, it feels like there's a glimmer of hope. That's because we've been staying in the minor chord for a long time. So the first time we hear a major chord, it sounds refreshing to the ear. And finally, before we get to the chorus, the last line of the verse, Look at that chord progression there. It's a very epic transition from the verse to the chorus. And actually, what happens is that he transposes from the key of C to the key of D. So in verse 1, we are in the key of C, but we transition to the key of D at chorus. So you'll feel that the song gets higher. And also, the lyrics give that kind of tone. Well, because the song's about being a champion, so it talks about overcoming adversity and overcoming problems. And when you're in that problem, which is verse 1, of course you feel dark. But when you talk about becoming a champion, you rise above those adversities and those problems. And so it's just amazing how the lyrics portrays that. But at the same time, the melody and the harmony and the chords and the progression also portrays that. And that match between the lyrics and the melody and the harmony and the song as a whole is what really makes it work, and what makes this song so good, so triumphant, and just so awesome. And that's a simple way to analyze music. Again, there are very many other ways, more deep, more sophisticated, and more complex ways to analyze. But even just looking at the chords, looking at the lyrics, and trying to see how they match, and doing that has made me appreciate music so much more. And I hope that this little analysis of the song We Are the Champions made you appreciate music so much more. And so there we have it. These are the 4 ways that you can mentally practice the piano when you're not on your piano. I also wrote a blog post about this, and you can read it through the link in the description. Remember, why I'm teaching you this is not only so that you'll be more effective and efficient in learning the piano, but rather it's to be fascinated, to constantly find delight in exploring and learning new elements of music and how music works. And if this video has helped you develop or cultivate that passion to explore and learn, then tell me, because I'm really going to be so happy. So that's all for this video. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned a lot. Feel free to ask me any questions, comments, and suggestions. Write it all down below. Once again, I'm Cade. This is the Cade and Keys channel. Thank you for watching. Keep practicing, keep learning, keep analyzing. Enjoy music. Practice the piano without the piano. See you. God bless.